Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and kind of demystify how chatbots actually work. And we're going to do it by building a super simple one from scratch with just a handful of code. So, let's just jump right in. Have you ever been talking to a chatbot and just wondered how it really works? Not the huge, complex AI ones, but the simpler ones you see on websites. Well, today, we're going to find out, and you'll see it's actually way more straightforward than you might think. All right. So we're going to kick things off with the absolute basics, a chatbot that literally just follows a set of rules. This is really the bedrock for understanding how all conversational bots get their start. So what exactly is a rule-based chatbot? Well, honestly, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's not doing any deep thinking or learning on its own. It's more like a really obedient actor following a script. It scans what you type for specific words or patterns, and then just pulls a pre-written response from its playbook. And this is where things get really interesting, right? The big AI chatbots you hear about are always evolving, learning from mountains of data. But our bot, the one we're building, it's totally predictable. It does exactly what we tell it to, no surprises. And that makes it perfect for very specific jobs, like answering common customer service questions. Okay, so you're probably thinking, how do we actually build one of these things? Well, turns out we only need a couple of tools. For this, we're going to use the Python programming language in a really cool library called NLTK. Getting all our ducks in a row is super straightforward. It's just a quick three-step dance. We'll install the main tool, bring in the specific parts we need, and then download a couple of tiny datasets so our bot can understand basic grammar. First things first, we've got to install NLTK. That stands for the Natural Language Toolkit, and it's basically a goldmine, a treasure chest full of tools for messing around with human language. This is the heart of our entire project. Okay, next up, we grab 3 key ingredients from that toolkit. Sheer is our expert pattern matcher. The chat class is the actual engine that makes our bot run. And Reflections? Well, Reflections is a clever little dictionary that helps the conversation feel more real by swapping pronouns. So if you say, "My computer is slow," it helps the bot reply, "Why is your computer slow?" And last but not least, our chatbot can't just, start from nothing. It needs a little bit of a head start to understand basic sentence structure. These 2 quick downloads give it the foundational knowledge it needs to break down what you're saying. So what do those downloads actually do? It's simpler than it sounds. Think of Punkt as a little paper shredder for sentences. It just chops a sentence up into individual words, or tokens as they're called. Then, the tagger goes through those words and labels them. This one's a noun, that one's a verb, this is an adjective. Simple as that. Okay, all the technical setup is done. Now we get to the really fun part. This is where we get to be writers and give our chatbot its personality. We're going to write its entire script. So, believe it or not, the entire brain of our chatbot is basically just a list of pairs, just like what you see here. On the left, you've got a pattern it's looking for, and on the right, you've got the replies it can choose from. It's really just a big game of if this, then that. Okay, pay attention, because this is where the magic really happens. That little .com thing, it acts like a butterfly net. It catches whatever the user types after my name is. The chatbot then saves that little piece of text, your name, and slots it right into the response where that %1 is. And just like that, you get a personalized reply. All right, so we have our script. Let's see how we actually plug this into the code and bring this chatbot's brain to life. We're going to put all the pieces together now. Now, this little chunk of code here, don't let it intimidate you. Think of it like a blueprint or maybe a container for our chatbot. All it's really doing is taking that list of rules we just wrote and loading it into the main chat engine from our NLTK toolkit. It's the box that holds the brain. And this right here, this is the engine that makes the conversation go. This bit of code creates a never-ending loop. It waits for you to type something, right? Then it hands your message off to the chatbot's brain, gets a reply, and prints it on the screen. And it'll do that over and over until you tell it to stop. Okay, the moment of truth. The tools are ready, the script is written, the code is all connected. So, what happens when we actually run it? Let's find out. And look at that! It's alive! You can see it right there. The user says hi, and the bot fires back one of its greetings. Perfect. Then, the user says, "My name is Geeks for Geeks," and bam! The bot catches that name and uses it in the very next sentence. It tells its joke, it says goodbye, every single rule is working just as we planned. So let's wrap up what our little bot can do.
It can handle basic greetings, it can personalize a conversation with your name, and it can follow simple commands. But, and this is super important, we have to remember its biggest limitation. If you ask it about the weather or sports or anything that isn't in its rulebook, it's going to be completely lost.
And that really brings us full circle. These rule-based bots are definitely simple, but they're also incredibly powerful for the right tasks. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you see how simple these rules can be, what's the one rule, that one simple if this, then that command you'd program into a chatbot to make your own life just a little bit easier?